welcome everyone to another episode of the podcast Standing Tall. Today's guest is Danielle Gray. She's a 5'4" petite model who has worked for brands like Nike, Under Armour, Fabletics, Equinox, among others. She used to be signed with top modeling agency Wilhelmina, and now she's currently represented by MTA Agency. Hi Danielle, thank you so much for being here. How are you today?
Thank you. I'm excited to be here. I am great. How are you?
I'm good. I'm super excited to dive into your story. I'm sure it's super interesting. It's going to be so helpful to so many people. So let's just get started. As someone who is 5'4", against all odds, you made it to a top modeling agency. Can you share with us, how did you start modeling?
So I have always liked to be behind the camera, honestly. I'm a photographer as well. So when I was younger, I would like take photos of, just random things. And then as I was in college, I believe, back in the Model Mayhem days, I started to shoot like actual models who were like down to do trades. And then through that, I met a makeup artist who I liked working with. And then she was like, you should shoot with my photographer friend. And then he and I started doing just random test shoots because he did architectural photography. And so doing portraits was kind of different and fun for him. So that was like 2013, I believe. Yeah, oh my God, 10 years ago.
Yeah.
Love it. It was fun to be on the other side of the camera.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, I guess I actually enjoy this too. So let's just, have fun with it. I didn't think anything professional then. Mm-hmm. And then around 2016, I thought, okay, maybe let's get into fitness modeling because it's not as strict as other types of modeling where you must be 5'7" at least, blah, blah, blah. Mm-hmm. So I kept trying to get with this one particular agency, and they just wouldn't sign me. They were interested, but they wouldn't sign me.
I feel you.
So yeah, so I kept going. And then I saw that Willamina was doing an open call for the fitness division in LA. And I was like, oh my gosh, I have to go. So I was all planned for it and everything. And then the night before, I saw that they had like changed the date. They made some kind of typo. And then my boyfriend at the time was like, we have to get you in. So he drove me back to my place. I got my clothes and everything because I stayed over at his place to go to work in the morning. Mm-hmm. And so got the clothes for the next day and then went in and brought everything that I had, my portfolio, all of the stuff that I had done because I had recently booked a national campaign on my own because I had a friend who knew somebody. Everything kind of fell into place, let's say. And then they offered me a contract and I signed with them. And then I started working from 2017 all the way until this past summer. And I kind of wanted to change direction with where I was going in my modeling. And then that's when I parted ways with them. And then I did my own thing through the summer. And then now I'm with my new agency.
Nice. Amazing. Love it. I also did the whole Model Mayhem thing and I wasn't really interested in doing anything beyond collaborating because I thought that was it. It was just fun. So very interesting. I love it. I think we started around the same time actually. Mm-hmm. So very nice. I love it. So as a petite model, for all those years that you were with Wilhelmina, what type of jobs do you usually do?
So since I was in the fitness division with them, I did things like Reebok. That was my first official job up in Vermont. I was like, oh my gosh, how cool. So Reebok, Lorna Jane, Under Armour, Nike, what else? Equinox, Subaru, Women's Health. I've done so many things over the course of those years. Yeah. But majority in the fitness space. They would send me out sometimes for random internet commercials, like that Subaru one. Mm-hmm. I drove a stick shift and that was very intimidating. And then I think that was pretty much it besides other just random interviews or beauty things.
Okay. So you did a little bit of beauty as well?
Yeah. And that's what I'm kind of transitioning into more. I want to kind of branch outside of the fitness realm and do commercials and beauty and swim, Sports Illustrated swim. That is still a goal of mine. And yeah, just kind of getting into that realm, more so.
Okay. Amazing. So, the majority of petite models have a really hard time making it to a top modeling agency. Can you share with us the experience, what it's like to be with a top modeling agency? Like, how do we treat you? Like meetings, development, all the type of stuff.
So it's interesting. You think, all right, if I'm with this top modeling agency like Wilhelmina, Ford, Elite, LA Models, all right? You're like, oh my gosh, it happened. It's real. The thing that I think gets a lot of people once you're signed with them is they'll assume that just because you're with them, you're going to start booking because they have access to different clients and this and that. Mm-hmm. But you really need to be a squeaky wheel because they have huge rosters. Mm-hmm. So if you're kind of not constantly checking in, asking for this, updating your portfolio, it's very easy to kind of fade into the background. Mm. So you need to make sure that you are continually checking in with your agent and you are shooting frequently and getting more practice. They are so busy because they do book a lot of work and they have a lot of, top models. So it's an interesting experience. And now that I have a different agency, kind of thinking about the two of them, it's different for each person and what they actually want and what they need. I was realizing towards the end of my time with Wilhelmina that I really was looking for more of a manager type because sure, it's nice to have an agent and book for these specific things, but I wanted somebody who really saw the potential of my career as a whole and not just this specific thing. So I want somebody who sees, oh, well, you're well-spoken and you have your own podcast and you like interviewing people. So let's put you in for some hosting jobs too. Oh, you've got to look here. Like, let's maybe even sign you to a different agency that can put you in for commercials and stuff instead of just pigeonholing so small. That's what I really like about my new agency is that I am able to do so many different things along with fitness modeling. Yeah.
No, I feel you. Well, that's really interesting. Thank you for sharing. So from what I've heard, like one of the reasons like top agencies don't really want to sign petite models is because they feel like, oh, you can only do beauty, for example. And there aren't that many like beauty jobs. So that means that you're not going to work a lot compared to a tall model. So that means that what's the point of like signing you if you're just going to like sit there? So what are your thoughts on that? Because from what I see from the outside, I think it can go either way, even if you're tall or short, Yeah,
that's a really good point. And I understand it from both sides. So from the agency side, you want to sign people that are going to make you money. And you want to sign somebody that you're going to be able to pitch. Otherwise, they're just sitting there and it doesn't make sense.
Yeah.
So I totally understand that. That's where the importance of knowing your strengths and selling yourself as a model comes in, because maybe they don't see what else you can do. So you need to say, hey, I think, I would be a great addition to your roster because looking through your models, I see that you don't have someone who can XYZ. So for those kinds of jobs, you would be able to submit me. Like you give them on a platter, here are all the things that you can submit me for instead of just like, please, please, please sign me. I keep up a lot of my skill levels. So that's where the fitness modeling comes in too, because sure, someone could have a certain look or a certain height, but they're not going to be able to flip on set or do a handstand or hike all day. And they're going to get, it's just, that's where it's really nice in fitness modeling because you can sell your skill set But as far as like beauty and e-com, I totally understand the e-com thing where you need to fit sample sizes. Mm-hmm. And since I'm only 5'4", and I am usually an extra small to a small in sizing, Fabletics was recently saying, stop, like make sure you don't lose any more weight, because if you get smaller, we can't work with you. Oh. So it's like almost the opposite, because the sample size are not, extra small. Mm-hmm. So, it's still there, like you need to fit into this box, but if you're able to show your diversity mm-hmm. and do that yourself too, and bring that to the agency to prove, hey, I've done this, I know my angles, I can look tall. If the client's going for a certain look, if it's specifically e-com, that is definitely harder, where you literally aren't going to wear a trash bag because it's going to be hanging on you and like dragging you onto the floor. Mm-hmm. So find those different niches and avenues and ways you can fit in, like do experimental beauty shoots, do shoots with every single athletic skill that you have, do some kind of odd high fashion thing where you get a friend who loves styling and then you shoot like really wide angle. I don't know, just play around, have fun with it again, and
like experiment,
and get as much as you can. Yeah, experiment.
Okay, yeah, no, that's great advice. Like literally sell your slur. It's true, because like sometimes you want it so bad, you're just like, please, like sign me, like I'm good, but you have nothing to prove. So it is very important that you're like, actually, I have this skill. Like I can speak another language, and I can flip, like you said, on camera, and I can do, mm-hmm. all this stuff. Like it really, like I have met with agents, and when I tell them like the skills I have, I literally see them like writing it down on the piece of paper, because that's mm-hmm. important. It's not like
you need to find the gap that they don't have, because if you can figure out like what's in it for them if they mm-hmm. sign you, well, then they're going to have the potential to earn money for XYZ jobs, which they don't currently have because they don't have that on their roster. If you find an agency that sure is a top agency that you want to be with, but they already have somebody like you or who can do what you do, it's going to be really hard. So you have to find those agencies that have the gap that you can fill, and it's going to be so much easier to get signed.
Yes, 100%. So I see that you not only focus on modeling, but you're also a trainer. So I think like a lot of people, and it's obviously very hard to do, to like handle two careers at the same time, because modeling requires you to have like a super flexible schedule, take off at any time. Like you're supposed to be working, let's say tomorrow, and today you get a casting that's in person. Yes. So like, what do you do? So how has your experience been doing modeling and also being a trainer and having I don't know if you have any other type of job besides being a trainer, but how has it been like?
I am someone who always has multiple jobs. I have my own company as well called Train Like a Gymnast. So I run that, like we're hosting a retreat. So for those kinds of things like that are specific to my business, I book out as far in advance as I can. Mm-hmm. So my agency understands that there's that communication that, okay, she's not going to be available for this. They appreciate that. Then for personal training, which was pretty hard when I was working at an actual gym, when I was working at Equinox. Mm-hmm. But as I would sign new clients, I let them know that I was a model, and like they had a 24-hour cancellation policy, but I told them also with me, if my agency sends me a casting that I have to miss your thing, like I'm not going to charge you for that because that's on me. And mm-hmm. they understood that because it was upfront. So as long as you're upfront about stuff and it's not like, oh, surprise, I can't do this today. It's like that takes people, like that catches them off guard. Mm-hmm. So if you're able to have really good open communication and you understand what you do, and you have kind of pre-existing agreements with maybe someone who would cover a shift for you if you're doing something else, like that will help make everything flow easier. And it has. You do end up juggling a lot of balls. There are a lot of balls in the air when you have multiple jobs and you're doing modeling. Yeah. Like same thing. Yesterday I had a casting that was due today at 11. I got it done yesterday. But like my friend had that same casting 2 days ago, and it was pouring rain outside, and she had to go run outside in the rain. Like,
no.
Those things happen. Yeah. I just, come on, guys. But, you know, you make it work. You find a way to make it work. And you also, it's really important to surround yourself with people that understand what you do. Because some of my friends are like, I have no idea what you do all day. They do not understand what I do if I'm just like sitting around at home. But like, you are busy doing stuff. Whether you're going to do, I think I have a shoot tonight. He's going to come over. We're going to do like a studio shoot. Like you make it work. You have fun with your schedule, but that's also the cool thing is nothing's the same every day.
Yes, that's what I love.
Yeah, you find a way to make it work. You keep that open communication, and then you have these agreements already
established,
like standing, established with clients, with employers, with co-workers, all of that. Yeah,
that's a great advice. You know, just to like communicate it, and hopefully the people will support you and understand there's a way to like go around things. Okay, so. I know that we kind of like touched this already, but I don't know if you're comfortable sharing a little bit more as to why you decided to leave Wilhelmina after being with them for 5 years. And I do understand the whole, like, you wanted to not be like in a box. That's what I understand. Like I think you felt like you were in a box and that's the only focus it had for you. And you wanted to branch and be able to do a lot more things, which is personally, that's what I want in an agent. Like, I don't want to be like this one commercial model or like beauty model. I want to be able to do more than that because I know I can do more.
Right.
So like, was that like the thing? Like your agent did not see potential in you beyond fitness model?
The thing is, he did see potential in me, and that's why he took a chance on signing me back then. That was part of it. Was yes, that is specifically in the fitness division, but they were also in New York, and I'm in LA. So I didn't know anybody at the LA Wilhelmina office because the fitness division is headquartered in New York. So I would see all these different like group events and classes they took together, and then I'm over here like, I'm not part of this, but I am. Okay. So I felt very removed. And then I also wanted to be signed with somebody out here, but my contract with them was exclusive in the United States. So, I mean, I could get like a commercial agent or a voiceover agent, but like for modeling,
you couldn't.
I couldn't get someone in Miami or Portland or anything like that, which was so frustrating for me because I have friends who are signed with a bunch of different agencies in different cities, and I have friends who were signed with Wilhelmina and other agencies too. So it's like, why am I not allowed to? So that was very frustrating.
Okay.
And then just, I'm a very direct person and I communicate a lot. I say what I want. I have high expectations and standards. And when an agent is part of your team, like they're working for you just as much as you're working for them. Mm-hmm. So if you're frustrated, if you're butting heads, it's gonna cause tension and frustration in your career.
Yeah.
So that was just something that I always kind of struggled with as well, was I just can't everybody just get along. that's kind of like how I feel.
I feel yeah.
I was like, I want to feel really, really good about the team that supports me, and not feel intimidated or nervous or anything like that. Because then that'll show up in my self tapes. That'll show up on set. Like, oh, I don't know. It felt not aligned. And for me, I'm someone who's very intuitive, and I really like to listen to how I feel and do my best not to force things. So there was this disconnect for a few years, and I had thought about it, and I had asked, I had tried, but ultimately, they did an amazing job at launching my career, getting me started, getting me these relationships and connections. but kind of like a regular, like romantic relationship with someone, sometimes that it just isn't working anymore, or you want to change direction. So it was really hard decision.
I bet.
It was, yeah. And I not broke contract, but there was a clause in there that allowed me to set and leave and send something in writing and get it all squared away. And then I took a few months, like, to myself. I was trying to build up my portfolio, get other jobs. I was submitting to jobs on casting networks and all that kind of stuff. I was working a lot in the summer.
Okay.
And I didn't have to share that commission. That was great. But then I was like, this is very overwhelming, getting so many emails per day, self-submitting. Like, I need someone to work for me so I can go back to focusing on, like, my training and my business.
Yeah.
So that's when I was like, okay, let's start submitting again. And I submitted to a couple different agencies. I got 3 no's in one day.
Amazing.
Which was really fun. Cried a lot. Because it's like, I had friends who were with them, and some of these agencies were like, so about inclusion and diversity and body positivity and curve and plus size. And I was like, and I can't get with them.
Yes.
When I was just with Wilhelmina, it was stunning. Mm-hmm. So I was really surprised that I had to keep, submitting around. And this agency actually came from my, like, content producer at Fabletics. I reached back out to them. I was like, hey, I'm no longer with my agency. If you want to work again, let me know.
Yeah.
So then we were able to book a shoot. And then on that, she knew that I was looking for representation. She was like, hey, I have this agent I really love working with. Like, you should submit to them. And then I did, and that's how it happened.
Wow.
So you reach back out to those pre-existing clients if you're trying to change agencies or anything like that. But yeah, I did a lot of follow-up with a lot of the brands that I had worked for already. And was like, hey, I'm independent right now. If you have anything upcoming, let me know.
Yeah.
And it helped a lot.
Wow. So these agencies, did you only submit to these 3 agencies that they rejected you, or did you submit to, like, everyone you could?
I submitted to Stets, to TNG, to Natural Models, to...
Did you try LA Models?
Okay, I have a funny story about LA Models. When I was first trying to find representation in 2017, I went to an open call of theirs. Mm-hmm. Me drove, too. Like in LA, you drive an hour for like 5 minutes. But like I drove up to their office. I parked. I did not even get 2 feet over the threshold into the lobby. And the girl behind the desk goes, excuse me, how tall are you? And I was like, I was wearing my highest heels, mind you. My hair was big. And I was like 5'4", and she's like, you have to be 5'7" to be seen. Okay. So I just turned around and left.
Yeah.
I didn't even get to sign in. And I walked in with another girl who was coming in, and she was kind of like, it was painful. But that's the fun story I like to tell.
Oh yeah. This has happened to me many times.
Yeah. So if they give you a straight up no like that, then okay, you don't want to work with that anyway. So you fail forward. You take all of those no's and you understand, okay, if they don't see it right now, maybe they'll see it in the future as I like change and get more experience, this and that. But also, if they don't see that potential, then even if I were on the roster and they sign me, I still might not even be working. Yeah. And that could be detrimental to my career and to the time, because you have a window with certain things in modeling. So accept those no's, but just know that it might be a no for now as well.
Exactly. Yeah, it is true. It's true. Sometimes you want to be signed so bad, but you do not see that if they really, like, they actually don't feel like signing you, even if you actually find a way to convince them, you might just literally sit there for like a year or 2 that your contract is and not do anything.
Yeah, it's not worth it just to be signed, honestly. A lot of clients do like working with independent models because they don't have to pay the extra 20% on top, or they don't have to deal with a negotiating bidding war. Like, you might actually work more. So don't feel like you absolutely need to be signed. As your career grows, then definitely, yes, you need to have someone to negotiate for you and vouch for you and put you in rooms where you wouldn't normally be able to be in.
Yeah. Yeah. No, for sure. So from what I understand, when you were like trying to get signed again, you were like going through trying to get with top agencies and boutique agencies, just trying to find whoever was a good fit, right?
Yeah. And I had friends who were with certain agencies. So that's a big way that I would get my stuff pushed as well. So I would know somebody who was with an agency and be like, hey, would you mind like sending my stuff in? They're like, yeah, sure. I'll forward it to my agent, that kind of thing. And if you don't know anybody signed with that agency, then maybe start doing research, maybe start following somebody, looking at how they're doing stuff, and start a conversation with them, get to know people on their roster. So then you can also learn about the agency beforehand. And they might be on the roster, but they might not be happy either.
Yeah.
So you could find that out. You'd be like, oh, never mind. I'm not going to submit there.
Yeah.
So yeah, just it's all relationships and networking.
Yeah. But even though you did have relationships and people that pushed you to those agencies, the agencies still said no.
Yep.
Even though you were with Wilhelmina before and you were shooting with amazing clients and you had all this career and experience, they still declined.
I literally had an agent say, I should pull up this email. I think she said, I don't think we would have enough work for you.
Yep.
And I'm like, are you what? I literally see my look everywhere on commercials in all, like I was that a flat out lie? Because there's no, I would love to curse, way that you don't have enough work for me unless you are for some reason not seeing these castings that I'm submitting to myself daily.
Yeah.
I think that was a lie. I don't know.
You know, sometimes I do like think that sometimes they might just say anything just to say a no.
Right.
You know, not like the real reason, but just like something that kind of resembles. Because I had another girl on the podcast and she's 5'9", beautiful, gorgeous. And literally an agent told her she was too short.
I mean, I believe that.
So
certain things. She must have had a particular look too, but also
they had models of her height already signed. So it was not like she was actually too short. You know, if that makes sense. You know, so that's very like interesting sometimes to like I don't know. But yeah, like it is mind blowing because you would think that, oh my God, Danielle, she was already with a top agency, she already booked all this job, she already has a career, blah, blah, blah. How in the world does she get like rejected? And people still, you will represent this to them and they will still be like, we don't think we have enough work for you.
Yeah. And I'm bringing relationships and clients to you as well, but okay, you don't want that. That's fine.
I mean, and like we said before, it's all about finding that person who actually believes in you, because if they don't want to, they don't feel that for you, they don't immediately love you, then you might not want to be with them anyway.
Yeah, it's ultimately in the long run. Like so through Train Like a Gymnast, we do retreats, and for those retreats, I do one-on-one sessions with all of the retreaters leading up to the trip. And with our first retreat, that was Hawaii in 2020, there was one retreater, her name is Emily, and I'm still friends with her to this day, but she was with this agency, she's 6 feet tall, so she's very tall.
Okay.
She was with this agency that body shamed her so much, like, you need to lose weight, you can't be, strong, blah, blah, blah. But she really wanted to be a fitness model. And so she did runway, but it just wasn't, it was fitting, a square peg into a round hole. And so what I was telling her with these like personal and professional development sessions that we were having is I was like, you gotta leave this agency. Like I can totally see you with these different agencies out here. You have to leave them, which is very, very scary.
It is.
Because you're signed and you don't want to be unsigned. So you're losing that. You have to put that risk out there. And then within 3 months, she was signed to her top fitness modeling agency that she wanted to be with. Because she took that chance. Yes. She did the work. We went over the letter to leave that agency. We kind of drafted it together. And then I gave her direction of like, okay, I want you to shoot this. She got on it. She executed. She did so many shoots with roller skating and doing track and jump roping and weightlifting, just all these things that she could do and show that she could do it. put together her portfolio, and then we started submitting her, and I connected her with people who were with different agencies that pushed her stuff through. And then she got signed. And then now she's signed with a second agency closer to where she is. So I am so proud of her. I can't even. So that's like a perfect example of sometimes you got to take that risk to be where you are in line. And now she has some regular clients too that she's working for.
And also a perfect example of putting in the work, because it wasn't like, oh, I already have a portfolio and experience and let me just submit, you know, like she actually put in, like doing all those shoots, it's a lot of work. So
it's exhausting and pricey. Can get pricey unless you have a lot of talented friends.
So now that you're signed with a new agency, could you share with us, like, what's the difference? Like, how does it feel like in terms of being signed with a top modeling agency and a boutique agency? Because there's like a lot of like I will say like mixed feelings about boutique and like top agencies. Some people are like, no, if I'm not with a top agency, like this is not worth it or whatever. And then other people are like, no, actually I would rather be with a boutique than a top. So like, how are your feelings? And in terms of like how they treat you, not like in terms of like following up, meetings, development, that type of stuff.
I get what you're saying. So similar to what I said before, like it's easy to fall into the background at a top agency, unless you're a squeaky wheel like me. But when I had the initial like consultation with MTA, I knew I liked them right off the bat because we had good banter. I could tell we had very similar energies. And she told me that they operate very much kind of in a managerial style. They don't have a lot of clients intentionally so that they can get to know all of their models, better so that they can submit and know for a fact, like, okay, I know who this person is. I know she's going to be great on set, this and that. And when you think about like different celebrities too, right? Sure, like some of them will be with like William Morris for acting or CAA or all these big agencies for celebs. If you think about who's actually their manager, sometimes you don't know that name. Like that's not a top manager at a place. It's just somebody who knows their stuff and is able to help and organize all of that. So ultimately, if you can find a boutique agency that one gets enough work and like you can see that the models in that smaller agency do work regularly, then that would be, I would say, even a better place to start, because then you can really get developed there, get some experience on a smaller level. And then if you want to try to go to a top agency, you can. I just went kind of in like a backwards way. I'm sure I could have signed with other boutiques before, but Wilhelmina just happened to be there, and that's where I went. But I really like the smaller feel just because of all the experiences that I've had in my modeling career. I'm someone who I majored in PR, so I'm very network based, relationships based, and I am very like good with negotiation, communication, writing style, and I'm fun on set. And I feel like with a top modeling agency, it kind of forces you to represent them in a way that's like more stoic, more kind of like walled off, because you feel the pressure to be at this certain level. I don't know how to explain it exactly. I don't know if you're understanding, but like you can take some of that pressure off when you don't feel like your agency is like hovering over your shoulder and breathing down your neck. And so it helps you open up. Your images become better. Your video becomes better. Your conversations become better. It's just a lot more of a fun experience. I feel like if you're with a top agency only, you can get burnt out from feeling like you have to uphold this certain thing. Like, sure, you're going to still represent, you're still going to represent your smaller boutique agency professionally, but it's not like, oh, whisper, blah, 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 blah. Like the reputations are different and a little bit old school, I feel.
Okay.
Yeah.
So now that you're with this new agency, they're like based in LA, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
So I even went into the office to meet them. I mean, I met my agents in New York too, but yeah, they're right here in LA.
Okay. So when you were signed with Wilhelmina, your agents were in New York and you were in LA. Yeah. So it was all like very like email, phone call type of relationship.
Yeah.
And you didn't really like talk or have a relationship with the agents in like LA office? Like you didn't go to the office?
I don't know anybody.
Really?
No. I met my agent at the LA office because he flew out. Sometimes they would make like 1 or 2 visits a year to the LA office, but I would go to meet them. Like I didn't know the names of any other agents in the Willamina LA office.
So you were signed.
So I had no reason.
So you were in LA signed to Wilhelmina, New York, technically.
Essentially, yeah.
Yeah. But you had the worldwide, all United States contract. Yeah. But you were not, because I think Wilhelmina, are they in Miami too? Or no? Or
Yes, they're in Miami too.
Okay. So, and did you ever fly to Miami? Or did you ever?
I did some jobs in New York, but
it was,
I never met any.
Oh, that's so interesting. Okay. All right.
Oh, isn't it?
Yeah. Yeah, it is. And I have heard from top agencies that have offices in different areas that you will be signed in one office, but that doesn't mean that you're going to be signed in the other offices or like be represented in the other offices, which is very, very interesting.
That can happen. Yeah. Like I think, that's what I was trying to do with this one particular agency that told me, if you're no longer with Wilhelmina, then let us know. So I did. It's still nothing. But I was trying to sign with them specifically in Portland, which I'm still like, I'm talking with somebody in like, for the Midwest right now. I would love to have different representation in like Portland, areas. Miami. Yeah, different markets. But I don't know. I also feel like if I find something, like I can give it to my regular current agent now, and then they would take over. I don't know. I'm surprised. I thought I would want so much representation, and I'm like, maybe it's okay.
Yeah, I mean, if you're working enough for you, whatever you want, like it's. I guess one agency is totally fine. But yeah, that will be exciting and fun to be signed in Portland, because I know that's where Nike is based.
I think Nike and Adidas.
I think Nike and Adidas, and then Miami, Midwest, like Chicago area. So many clients. But yeah, again, we'll do whatever makes you happy. Amazing. So, any last advice you would like to share with our audience?
The number one takeaway that I hope everybody gets from this is to trust your intuition, and surround yourself with people that believe in you and see your potential for growth. Even if you have to be very patient and a year goes by and you're still not signed, you can still put yourself out there. You can still do the work. You can still shoot. I'm doing right now. I'm trying to gather all of my favorite makeup artists and stylists and photographers and videographers and models to do just like a fun day shoot, or like a hiking outdoorsy shoot, just for all of our portfolios. Like make a day of it, find fun, talented people who just want to experiment and have fun without pressure. Because at the end of the day, why are you doing all this? Yes, to pay the bills, but also the people who are in this industry, I feel like value variety and difference in every day. They don't like the routine. They don't like the mundane. So make that your current life and things will fall into place.
Love that. Amazing. Well, thank you so much, Danielle, again, for being on the podcast and sharing your story, it being an open book for us. I'm sure this is going to be so helpful for anybody listening. And if you want to follow Danielle on Instagram, I'm going to leave her in the description of this podcast. So thank you again, everyone, for listening to another episode of the podcast. And I'll talk to you guys in the next one. Bye.
Bye.